Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylisha. I'm a birth and postpartum doula in the DMV area. Welcome back to everyone who is returning to my channel to watch another upload. Thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate your support, and welcome to any new viewers or subscribers. I really appreciate your support for this channel. I decided to start this as a way to document what I do as a doula, and to kind of, this was for my own personal, viewership at first, but I figured why not share with the masses so that I can share my knowledge and share my passion with the rest of the world, so to speak. So thank you so much for your support again. Today we're going to be talking about 10 questions to ask your OB or midwife when you are in the selection process. So picture it, Sicily, 1942. Yes, I watch Golden Girls. Love that show. But anyway, so yes, like I said, picture it. You just found out you're pregnant. First of all, congratulations. Yay, we love that. Babies being born is my jam. But yes, you just found out that you're pregnant and you need to select a care provider for the duration of your pregnancy. And of course, you want someone to deliver your baby. No matter who that is, be it an OB, a midwife, whomever, you need to interview the person that you are going to have to trust your labor process, your pregnancy, and delivery, all of that with. You got questions to ask and you need to ask them. I am here to help you figure out what to ask, just to kind of throw some ideas out there so that you don't go in lost on that first meeting. Now, if you see me look down, it's because I have written, or typed rather, the questions that I would like for you to ask and what I want to talk about today. I don't know who can remember a whole entire script verbatim or a entire list of questions like that verbatim, but it's not me. My memory was not set up that way. That's not the ministry that the good Lord gave me, and I accept that. So I ask that you please also accept that I have to look down at this laptop to make sure I'm going through all of the questions I want to cover today. Thank you so much for your understanding. So number one, first you want to find out, do they accept your insurance? I know that doesn't seem like an important thing right now, but I like my money, and I like for my money to pay for things that I need. And if I'm going to be giving something my money every month, I want to make sure that I can get out of it what I'm going to need to use it for. So of course, number one, make sure they take your insurance. You want to ask that question because if they don't cover or take your insurance, if your insurance doesn't cover that particular provider, it is costly. It's costly. I've been on the other end of that, not necessarily for a pregnancy, but just in general. Finding out after the fact that somebody does not accept your insurance is not fun. So make sure that you go where your money is accepted, okay? Two, you want to ask, what is their philosophy around birth? That sounds like a silly question to some, but it's important because it will tell you everything that you need to know about how you and this person will connect in regards to your own pregnancy and the length of time that you're going to be dealing with this person, because you will see them frequently between the time that you meet them that first time and throughout your delivery, of course, pregnancy and delivery, and then you're going to meet them again 6 weeks after you deliver. That's a long time to have to deal with someone, so you want to make sure your ideologies match up. Three, this is a two-part question. You want to start by asking, how long have you been practicing? This may be more important to others than it is to some, and this is really just up to your personal preference and how well you believe that you can gauge someone's ability and your instincts in trusting them. If person A wants to go with the OB or midwife that has only been practicing for 2 to 3 years and they feel comfortable with that, that's fine. That is your prerogative. As long as you feel like you can trust them literally with your life, that is all that matters. Now, person B may say, well, I only want people that have been doing this for 10 plus years because I have ABCD concerns and I want to make sure that someone has been well seasoned in the game. That is perfectly fine. Whoever you choose, make sure that they are able to tell you the length of time they've been practicing, and make sure that you're able to find comfort in that length of time. Because if you don't trust your OB or your midwife, you're going to have a pretty tumultuous time with that person, because any advice they give you, you're going to second guess it. And it can feel kind of undermining to that person. And it's not that it's your job to boost them up, but when you trust them and they feel confident in your trust in them, it makes for a better relationship for the two of you. The second part to this question is, how have you contributed to better outcomes for women of color? This is important because, just last week we came out of Black Maternal Health Week. Black women have a higher chance of having complications during their pregnancy and during their labor. We have a higher rate of having complications such as preeclampsia, preterm labor, among other things. And it's important that you're working with someone who is knowledgeable about what those disparities are so that they can be of assistance to you in the birthing space and all leading up to your delivery. 4, how do you support birth plans? This is important because, yes, these people have gone to school, they have done their training, they have certified licensures, all that is wonderful. They are the professional. However, you are the person that has to deliver this child into the world. So you have a plan and you want someone that will support you and whatever that plan is, as long as everything is medically okay and it is a healthy pregnancy. You want to make sure that you've got somebody who's going to be on your team and on your page. The whole entire goal is to have a healthy baby and a healthy mom at the end of the day. That should be their only goal. And if the goal is that, then it will be to support your birth plan and to help guide you so that you can execute that plan to the best of both sides' ability and keep everyone safe at the same time. 5, will you be the one to attend my delivery? And if not, how will I become acquainted with the person who will? So most often what I've noticed with, clients of my own is that when they have an OB, they tend to work with the entire practice, meaning if there are 5 doctors and my first appointment is with Dr. A, I have to meet Dr. B, C, D, and so forth, so that just in case Dr. A is not available for my delivery, I have at least met everyone one time. But all facilities may not work that way. So that's why I say that you should ask that question so that you're aware and you're not expecting, for a specific person to be there for your delivery and you're, not setting yourself up for disappointment. And honestly, knowing how that process works makes it easier for you so that you don't feel like you're with a stranger. 6, what is your C-section rate and how do you determine if it's medically necessary to perform a C-section? It's not a bad thing if you have to have a C-section because sometimes it is really a matter of saving both your life and the baby's life or one or the other. And of course, we want mom and baby to come out healthy. So ask that question so that you're aware of, number 1, what their C-section rate is. That is important because if they have a very high C-section rate, then you've got other questions that follow, which is the part 2 to this, which is how do you determine if it's medically necessary to perform one? Sometimes doctors will want to perform one to keep them from being liable for anything happening. For instance, so one thing that could lead to a C-section is late decels, and that just means late decelerations in the baby's heart rate, which means the baby's heart rate is decreasing after the contraction is happening. And that is a cause for concern and can often, lead to a C-section, but it doesn't always have to. So sometimes, if baby's heart rate is decreasing after a contraction, it could just mean that mom is not in a favorable position. Maybe she's laying on her side and baby wants to sit up, or maybe she's sitting up and baby wants to lay down on one side. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't always have to lead to a C-section. That just is one of the things that can kind of perk the doctor's ears up to say, hey, we might need to start thinking about this. Also, arrest of descent. Arrest of descent means that baby has stopped moving down towards and through the birth canal. It could be, thinking that baby's head is in a not optimal position, not necessarily anything bad, like there's a problem. Sometimes that is a real thing. Sometimes baby is just not going to be able to come out, and that's fine. But oftentimes it's just baby's not in an optimal position and doctors aren't patient enough to allow for mom and baby to get into the right positioning to let things happen naturally. And it could be a combination of bad positioning and heart rate is decreasing. Anything that is causing stress on the baby, it just that can be a first instinct for some physicians, not all, but some. Which is why, again, I said that in a very long-winded way of explaining why you should ask what someone's C-section rate is and how do they determine that a C-section is medically necessary. The next question I think is important is, what pain management resources do you offer? You want to know that because, for one, you just need to know your options. It doesn't matter what you want. If you're a person who says, no, I do not want a natural labor, give me whatever you got, you need to know what you're gonna got. It's kind of important. You don't want to just be handed things all willy-nilly and not know, what your options are. And then two, if you don't want, certain things like narcotics or, epidural, then you need to know, what else can you do for me to help me manage my labor? Everyone needs to know what options they have available to them at all times, regardless of whatever your preferences are. That way the choice is not being made for you and you have a deciding factor in what is done and given to your body. 7, how often and for what medical reason do you recommend inductions? That kind of somewhat goes hand in hand with the C-section thing, because inductions often lead to C-sections in some cases. But I think that this is important because with inductions, you want to know, for one, okay, thing that I disagree with, and most doulas do, being told that you should be scheduled for an induction because you're 39 years old, your advanced maternal age. If mom is healthy and she has been healthy, her being pregnant, the risks do not, in my opinion and in my research, they don't get any greater just because of someone's age. I think that it is a small way of thinking, and it's not very progressive. Women are having babies in their 50s and whatnot, and coming out completely healthy. I mean, there are 50-year-olds that are way healthier than me, and their bodies are way more in shape and able to withstand a pregnancy than mine could right now at the ripe age of 30. So I disagree. Advanced maternal age is not a reason to say, hey, boom, you're 39, let's schedule you for an induction. Because you're not old, okay? Your body is fine. Should you be cautious? Yes, but everyone should be cautious when you're pregnant. It's a delicate situation. But yeah, finding out what someone deems medically necessary for an induction is also important, because sometimes around the holidays, there is no such thing as, oh, I may not be available. What do you mean you may not be available? You're gonna make me keep the baby in if you can't come in? That's not gonna happen. Around Christmas time or Thanksgiving, all of well, let's go ahead and get you scheduled so my books don't get full. They're playing on the fact that they know you want them to be the one to deliver, which is why I encourage asking, going back to question 5, I think, when I said, if it's not you that's going to deliver my baby, how can I get acquainted with other people? That way you are not convinced or coerced or coaxed into any sort of decision making because you've gotten emotionally attached to one person. Get to know everybody that could potentially be there for your baby's delivery. That way, when it's time to make a decision, such as, is this, let's say your doctor that you've been seeing for the whole entire time says, oh, I may not be available for your delivery. Well, okay, I've met, a couple of other people, and that's fine. I'm willing to wait until my body naturally goes into labor. Although I will take into consideration if anything does happen or if anything changes with my health, I will take into consideration the concerns you may have and make a decision from there. But as of right now, I want to go into labor naturally. And I'm okay if it's not you that is here to deliver my baby. Number 9, what can I be doing to contribute to a healthy pregnancy for me and my baby? This entails so many different things. You want to know, subcategories to this question. Can I exercise? Should I start exercising? What can I eat? What shouldn't I eat? What medications can I take? All of that, you want to ask them those questions, because it's not something that you think about immediately until you get your first cold while you're pregnant. And then you're like, well, I don't know if I can take this. When you ask the question right off bat, and then take a pen and paper so you can write those answers down, or ask if you're allowed to record the conversation for, to refer back to later. But yeah, asking this question will help you along the way, because it's not something that will put fear in you or like a huge concern, because you've already covered it. You've already written it down. You have a list of what you can and can't take. Sometimes they may have pamphlets in the office for you so you can reference that later on. But yeah, just kind of clearing your mind and getting rid of those concerns early on helps you out, and it kind of takes the guesswork out of it, basically. And finally, number 10, last and final question. Can I call you with any questions or concerns I may have? You need to know who to contact if there is an emergency or even a non-emergency and you just, thought up a question randomly on the fly. Who can I contact? That is important for obvious reasons because one, if it is an emergency, you need to know who's going to be available to you to answer those questions. And then two, that's just good planning. It is good planning. It is a good idea to know who to go to for whatever reason. If it's not them, you don't want to, because I get frustrated with this. I used to work on both sides. I used to be the person that got called with questions I couldn't answer, and then being the person that is calling and the person on the other end is telling you that they can't answer your question. You get irritated with both. Now, the first time, being the healthcare worker who could not answer the questions, at some point it's like, okay, listen, I literally do not know. I am sorry, and I am frustrated with you and for you, but repeatedly asking me again and again is not going to make me know the answer. And then also, for the person with the question, it's like, well then, if you don't know, find me somebody who knows. So I get both sides, but ask them that question, please, 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 to refrain from frustrating or working yourself up. That way you know who you can go to about what. Sometimes it's not even necessary to go directly to the doctor. Sometimes you can literally just call that nurse advice line or, hello, your doula, because you need a doula. But knowing who you can contact with any questions or concerns, that way someone can troubleshoot for you without you getting super worried or worked up, makes it too easy. So there we go. That was a lot. That's the most I've talked in a couple of weeks. The last time I talked this much was my sister and I discussing her, birth story for my nephew. That was a lot. But I hope that this was helpful. And I will try to put a few more questions. I limited myself at 10 because I can get kind of carried away. If you can't tell from the length of this video, I ramble sometimes when I get excited. But yeah, these are 10 questions that you should ask your OB or midwife when you are shopping around for a provider. If anybody has any other suggestions for questions that I may have missed or didn't mention in this video, you can definitely enter that in the comment section. I appreciate the input. Yeah, that is all I have for today, and I will see you guys next Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.